hard to believe.
Wow, this is like unbelievable. It's like one of those movie type of deals.
Shock tonight in one Hawaii neighborhood. People who know the man charged in an apparent assassination attempt on former President Trump expressing disbelief. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Ryan Routh has lived in Hawaii for years. Today, investigators reveal they believe that he camped outside the former president's Florida golf course for nearly 12 hours waiting for an opportunity. Routh was in federal court today facing several firearms charges. Investigators say Secret Service agents stopped the attack he was planning yesterday after an agent spotted a gun pointed in the direction of Trump's golf course. They say Routh ran off after an agent fired shots in his direction. Body camera footage released just today shows Routh being taken into custody. Officers caught up with him along Interstate 95, about an hour's drive from the golf course. FBI agents say they're now working to track Routh's recent movements by looking at his cell phone data.
The subject had an active online presence, and we are going through what he posted and any searches he conducted online. In addition, we're going through media reports and public statements he made that he wanted to recruit Afghan soldiers and others to fight for Ukraine.
People who know Routh from his Hawaii neighborhood say they are shocked to learn he's been arrested in this case. They say he's been living on Oahu for years and seemed like a nice guy.
So mellow, he's real low key. He doesn't make too much. He doesn't make any trouble in the community. Let me put it that way. So it's a real shock. Very shocking news.
He always helped the community. In fact, he built my house. I got a small house. I live up in the back in the bushes. Yeah, he built a little 10 by 10 for me and my 10 dogs.
Routh said in court today his only assets are the 2 trucks that he owns in Hawaii. President Biden says there is no place for political violence in America. Today, during a visit to Philadelphia, he condemned what appears to be the second assassination attempt on former President Trump.
America, we resolve our differences peacefully, the ballot box, not at the end of a gun. America suffered too many times the tragedy of an assassin's bullet. It solves nothing and just tears the country apart. We must do everything we can to prevent it and never give it any oxygen.
Vice President Kamala Harris has also condemned political violence. She posted on X saying in part, quote, "We all must do our part to ensure that this incident does not lead to more violence." And you can find extensive coverage on this apparent assassination attempt on our website. That's westcoastwrap.com. Our online coverage includes a closer look at Routh's history in Hawaii, including his work with a nonprofit group in that state. Tonight, Los Angeles police are investigating an early morning shootout between officers and an armed man. That suspect was killed, and investigators now believe he was responsible for killing another man before police got to the scene. This all happened near a shopping center in North Hollywood. Officers were responding to reports of a shooting. They say they opened fire when the suspect pointed his gun at them. Police say the motive behind the initial deadly shooting remains unclear tonight. No officers were injured in that shootout. Arraignment for the man accused of starting a Southern California wildfire that's caused millions of dollars in damage has been postponed once again. Justin Halstenberg was expected in court today to face charges connected to the line fire in San Bernardino County. But according to LAist, that arraignment may now happen as early as tomorrow. As Fox's Jonathan Hunt shows us tonight, firefighters are making progress in slowing that fire and the others burning across 4 Southern California counties.
Firefighting efforts in Southern California are getting a much-needed boost from Mother Nature. Officials say increased humidity, lower temperatures, and rain are helping firefighters gain ground against 3 separate wildfires.
We're being helped by the weather, and that weather will continue for a couple of days, so we're making good progress.
More than 8,000 personnel have been fighting the fires across multiple fronts. The largest, the Bridge Fire, which exploded in the Angeles National Forest east of LA last week, has burned dozens of buildings and forced more than 10,000 people to evacuate.
Couldn't even see the neighbor's house. from the smoke. It was so thick.
In the San Bernardino Mountains, the line fire continues to burn. Officials say the fire was just over 1/3 contained as of Sunday. A delivery driver has been arrested and charged with deliberately starting the fire. In Orange and Riverside counties, the airport fire also continues to burn. That fire was started by a spark from heavy equipment. Crews say in each of these fires, their work is made much tougher by the mountainous landscape.
Again, very challenging terrain in there, cliff faces and granite and things that we just can't go quickly on.
And even with the cooler temperatures, officials warn that with so much dry vegetation in the wake of a long, hot summer, the risk of more fires remains high. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
And human remains have been found near one of Southern California's large wildfires. Investigators say those skeletal remains were found on Saturday in one of the line fire's evacuation zones. The coroner still working now to identify the person and the cause of death. Investigators don't believe the cause of death is related to the fire itself. One person is dead tonight after a mid-air collision of two small planes near Reno. This crash happened this morning near the Minden Tahoe Airport. Investigators say one of the planes caught fire in the air before crashing into a field. The pilot, who was the only person on that plane, died. The other plane landed safely at the airport. The pilot and passenger on that plane were not injured, and the cause of that collision is under investigation still tonight. Today, a National Transportation Safety Board investigator arrived at the site of a deadly plane crash in Alaska. The plane, operated by Ute Commuter Service, went down yesterday near the small community of St. Mary's, which is east of Anchorage. All 4 people on board were killed. Ute Commuter Service says an off-duty pilot was flying the plane at the time. Others on that plane included a Ute Commuter Service employee, a former employee, and one person who was taking a personal trip. The company says it is cooperating now with this investigation by federal agents into the cause of that crash. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, a new ripple effect in the ongoing workers' strike at Boeing. Tonight, what the company says it has to do that will affect the workforce. Also, a Colorado man wasted no time when he noticed a driver on the road in trouble, how he helped to save her life while putting himself at risk at the same time.
And a taste of autumn over much of the West as we await the official equinox on Sunday. I'll have a look at what we can expect for tomorrow and the days ahead coming up.
A judge has rejected a bid by former President Trump's chief of staff to move its so-called fake electors case out of state court in Arizona. A U.S. district judge ruled today, saying Mark Meadows missed the deadline to ask for his charges to be moved to federal court. In that ruling, the judge also indicated Meadows failed to show the allegations against him were related to his official duties as chief of staff for the president. Meadows and several other Republican operatives are accused of being involved in an illegal scheme to falsely show that former President Trump won the state of Arizona in the 2020 election. Boeing said today it plans to cut spending and freeze hiring, all in an effort to save money during the strike by factory workers that started last week. In a memo to employees, Boeing's CFO said the company would also be pausing pay increases for promotions and putting a stop to all travel that isn't critical. He said the company is also considering temporary layoffs. About 33,000 union workers went on strike last Friday. The walkout comes after workers rejected an offer with pay raises of 25% over 4 years. The trial began today in the effort to stop the merger of supermarket chains Kroger and Albertsons. The lawsuit was filed by Washington State's Attorney General, who argues that merger would violate state antitrust laws and cause consumers to pay more. Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman has more tonight on what is at stake in this trial.
Over the years, you've become friendly with the cashier at your favorite grocery store.
But just helping people get what they need makes me happy.
You feel empowered with the many choices when it comes to making that grocery run, or so you think. Many of your go-tos, including QFC and Safeway, are owned by Kroger or Albertsons.
If we were to merge, it would definitely be bad.
In October of 2022, the two grocery giants proposed to merge, which would make Kroger Albertsons the second largest grocery retail chain in the country, right behind Walmart. Merger talk is making employees across the region nervous, as they're the two largest employers of union grocery labor in the country.
We could lose our union status, and losing our benefits is losing our medical, our vacation time, our sick pay. Who knows what they'll throw at us.
Dalton Adams, a cashier at QFC in Bellevue, previously worked at Safeway. He saw firsthand what the merger with Albertsons did for them.
There's no real other stores that could compete on the same level. It would be very bad for everybody.
The Federal Trade Commission has already sounded the alarms. They filed a lawsuit in February echoing what employees fear: no competition. Less competition impacts not only your kitchen table, but your wallet too. According to the FTC, you'll be forced to pay more for less or lower quality.
So we're here for day one of the trial.
Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson has filed a lawsuit trying to stop the merger, claiming it impacts Washingtonians over any other state, as 124 stores can potentially close or divest.
After the merger was announced, an Albertsons executive wrote the following, quote, "It's all about pricing and competition, and we all know prices will not go down."
Kroger and Albertsons say merging will help lower prices and compete with bigger companies like Costco, Amazon, and Walmart. Both promise not to close any store as a result of the merger, but in some places, several stores, as many as 413, will be sold to CNS Wholesalers, who is just that, a wholesaler. The company declined to interview, saying this expansion is part of their retail footprint. Their statement reads in part, "The purchase of these stores will enable CNS to be one of the leading grocery retailers in the United States. In order to ensure these stores continue to thrive, we will be welcoming hundreds of highly skilled grocery retail veterans and tens of thousands of store associates from Kroger and Albertsons who are currently responsible for these stores."
They give a lot of reassurances, but it gives me a little comfort.
It'll be interesting to see what the judge decides in this case filed by AG Ferguson. The judge can halt the merger nationwide or limit the ruling to just here in Washington. The court, though, has set aside 3 weeks to hear both sides out. From Capitol Hill, Alejandra Guzman, Fox 13 News.
TikTok and the U.S. government went head-to-head in federal court today. Oral arguments began in the legal case that will determine the future of TikTok here in the U.S. Attorneys for the two sides appeared before a panel of judges at the Federal Appeals Court in Washington. TikTok and its China-based parent company ByteDance are challenging a U.S. law that requires them to break ties or face a ban in the U.S. by mid-January. The U.S. views TikTok as a national security threat because of its connections to China. This legal battle is expected to reach the Supreme Court. People in some parts of Alaska may see more spectacular images like these in the sky tonight. New video posted on social media shows northern lights glimmering in the sky last week. Researchers at the University of Alaska Fairbanks say this happens when electrically charged particles entering Earth's atmosphere collide with gases. They're expecting the phenomenon will appear once again tonight as well as tomorrow. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Rosemary Orozco, who is tracking weather conditions and answering the question for folks who might be trying to see those northern lights, whether they'll have good viewing weather.
Oh, Alex, it's going to be a tough call. Take a look at what is going on over areas of Alaska as we speak. A partly cloudy to mostly cloudy evening expected over most of the state, with rain showers in the forecast as well. Alaska, Canada, and even the northern section of areas near Washington will see that possibility of being able to see the lights. However, again, already with another system kind of just hanging over and bringing those overcast skies. Meanwhile, here on the west, again, just looking a lot like fall over the entire, take a look at what is going on. It's pretty much engulfed the entire west, this system here. That brought a few scattered showers to the Bay Area earlier, and thunderstorms over areas of the higher elevations of the Sierra, and a little bit of high elevation snow also reported in the Sierra above 8,000 feet or so. But if we come in a little bit closer, we do have mostly cloudy skies over areas of Oregon at this time, and likely to see those partly cloudy skies to mostly cloudy over Washington as well. Meanwhile, this system is moving east over the next 24 hours, so the active weather will continue over parts of the Intermountain West, but there are no advisories. No advisories for heat, no advisories for fire. That is some good news. Here's a look at the forecast when we roll through the next 24 hours or so. There's a look at that system there. It's going to push off to the east. So for tomorrow, still scattered showers in the forecast for, again, the Intermountain West as well as parts of the Four Corners. And then by Tuesday night into Wednesday, another system is dropping in. So the final days of summer feeling a whole lot like fall. Not really strong storms, but strong for this time of year. Scattered showers will be in the forecast for California, which is some great news. Dozens of fires burning over California. Dozens of fires, dozens and dozens of fires over areas of the West. When it comes to rainfall amounts, not a lot expected in most areas. But again, it's just the timing, the time of the year. It's only mid-September. So this is good news for the firefight and, of course, decreasing fire danger. Meanwhile, a look at what we can expect over the next few days. Areas over the Pacific Northwest, including Seattle, will be partly cloudy, very comfortable in the 60s. Chance for rain moving in at times as well. Tuesday into Wednesday, the Bay Area will get another shot at scattered showers. It looks fairly weak, but it's there. And temperatures will remain in the 60s over San Francisco. Los Angeles seeing some very mild weather, and for the first time in so long, Phoenix, several days below 100.
Wow.
Alex.
I know they're enjoying it there in Arizona. Rosemary, thank you. Artificial intelligence will dominate the discussion at this year's Dreamforce conference in San Francisco. The event kicks off tomorrow at the city's Moscone Center. And as KTVU's Jana Katsuyama reports tonight, city officials are ready for the 45,000 people converging on San Francisco.
Downtown San Francisco was buzzing Monday as Dreamforce attendees arrived. The block of Howard Street in front of Moscone Center turned into an outdoor Dreamforest event space. Inside, people picked up their badges. And the big theme this year is AI.
So we have a ton of activations all over Dreamforce this year.
Attendees will get a preview of the new Salesforce AI technology, Agentforce.
They want to know, how do I get business value out of AI? How should I be thinking about a large language model and building an AI system? And so what we're really focused on at this Dreamforce is getting them hands-on with the technology.
Participants coming from around the world to San Francisco.
Now this is where things get truly awesome.
They're hoping to learn how AI can be integrated in their industries, from healthcare.
There are so many productivity gains that you can get when AI is augmenting what your workforce is doing, augmenting the experience of your citizens and your patients.
And also to finance, sales, and daily management tasks.
We're from the energy and utilities sector, and we're super passionate about driving towards net zero. So we see AI as a key kind of potential for us to innovate and do things quicker and faster and better.
Dreamforce is expected to draw some 45,000 attendees, and local restaurants are getting fully booked as people look for spaces to connect outside the Moscone Convention Center.
I actually had to shut down the books because it was getting so heavy with like large reservations, private event inquiries.
Many people hoping to have deep discussions about the challenges that AI is bringing at lightning speed.
I want to find out other ways other people are using it. You know, what are the concerns? Like, what are the things that I should be watching for that, you know, might kind of slip by, right? So any of the potholes.
This is kind of interesting opportunity for us to talk to many customers, many partners, and also to learn about the Salesforce roadmap.
And as part of that roadmap, Salesforce has a virtual Agentforce lab for people to create their own prototypes of virtual agents before the software is released on October 25th. And of course, there will be many celebrities here and leaders from NVIDIA and Anthropic and other tech companies. Mark Benioff is expected to address the group at this opening ceremony at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Reporting from San Francisco, Jana Katsuyama, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a new view of what to expect from the A's new ballpark in Las Vegas. Tonight, developers show off some new images, plus they give us an idea of when we can expect construction crews to break ground on that project. Also, a Colorado man talks about sacrificing his own truck to help another driver in trouble.
I'm out looking for heroism. Everybody says I'm a hero and it just doesn't click still. It was just the right thing to do.
She is in a medical coma, just staying stable, letting her brain rest. I can't imagine a future with Ava not being Ava. It will take months, if not years, to recover.
There is heartbreak in northern Utah after a teenager's stunt leaves her in critical condition. 15-year-old Candace Broadhead fell last week while car surfing with friends. This stunt involves standing on moving cars. Police in Magna, Utah, where Candace lives, say car surfing cases are becoming more and more common, and they stress it should never be done. Broadhead suffered a severe brain injury.
The car was driving around, the victim fell off, and unfortunately, pavement isn't as forgiving, and the victim hit their head. People who are getting on top of these cars and doing the car surfing, once they fall, you know, it's unpredictable what type of injuries they can sustain.
Investigators have not said whether anyone involved in this stunt will be facing criminal charges, but the investigation is ongoing. A Good Samaritan in Colorado sacrificed his own truck to help others on the road. Fox 31's Aaliyah Sims spoke with him about how he stopped an out-of-control vehicle in the middle of traffic.
The Friday afternoon commute turned into a scary situation for drivers heading on 6th Avenue westbound, just east of Wadsworth in Lakewood.
And just after Sheridan, I saw a vehicle that swerved in front of me. They swerved all the way over and hit the median, the dividing median, and then bounced up and over, and then back to the wall to the right-hand side of westbound.
He realized the driver was unconscious behind the wheel.
Completely passed out, hunched over the passenger seat. Still going forward, no hands on the wheel.
With traffic moving at about 30 miles per hour, in a split second, he made a decision to sacrifice his own truck to stop the driver.
I got in front of her, looked behind me to make sure there was nobody else behind me, and I stopped so she would hit me. So I let her vehicle impact me to stop her from going further.
He jumped out of his 15-year-old Dodge Ram to grab a floor jack to break out the windows to turn off the ignition. Luckily, an off-duty police officer was nearby.
Jumped out as we're breaking the windows. He helped me shut the ignition off as well. It had to have been a few minutes, but it just seemed like it happened all like that.
Myrick tells me a nurse was also in traffic. She jumped in and helped.
She was like, oh, it looks like she had a seizure. She had a seizure. She was going to end up off the Wadsworth off-ramp and just went straight, and she would have went down that hill into oncoming traffic.
His truck suffered bumper damage.
This, which prevented a lot of damage. The damage that was done on my truck is nothing compared to the lives that would have been taken or could have been taken if I didn't do what I did.
And although he doesn't want to call himself a hero for his quick thinking, he encourages others to jump in when they see something isn't right.
It's just something I would have done to anyone. I'm not out looking for heroism. Everybody says I'm a hero and it just doesn't click still. It was just the right thing to do.
And that was Fox 31's Aaliyah Sims reporting. Myrick is expected to reunite with the woman he stopped this week. And finally tonight, we're getting a clearer picture of the timeline to build a new baseball stadium in Las Vegas for the Oakland A's. The construction companies hired by the A's planning to break ground on the project in the spring of 2025, aiming to have that ballpark open by 2028. That does it for West Coast Wrap. Have a great night.